Vietnam, one of Southeast Asia's fastest urbanizing economies. But as living spaces shrink, a simple question becomes a daily struggle. Where do you keep the things that matter? Meanwhile, Vietnam generates over 25 million tons of household waste every year, much of it from furniture and belongings thrown away, simply because there's no room left. Out of that pressure, a new urban service is emerging. It's called self-storage. According to Modern Intelligence, Vietnam's self-storage market stands at $110 million in 2025, set to more than double within 5 years. Hi everyone, this is Giang from Bloomberg Businessweek Vietnam. Today, we explore the story of MyStorage, Vietnam's first full-service self-storage company. Hello everyone. So our conversation today is about innovation and sustainability and how it transforms the most practical part of the city life, which is storage. Please join me in welcoming Aric Austin. So he is the CEO and so the founder of MyStorage.
Yes.
It's an honor for us to be here talking with you. And I want to get started by from your personal story, since we know that your background is in media and so in branding, and you moved here in Vietnam back in like 7 years ago.
That's right.
So how did it start? And why did you decide to start like a completely new business here in Vietnam?
So my background is media and advertising. So people often ask me that question in the beginning. What's this guy doing in self-storage? I was in that business for a long time in the West, in Germany and in the USA. And after a while, I was like ready to do something else. And I had traveled to Asia quite a bit, and I always found it fascinating. I loved the energy, the excitement, the buzz. And so at some point in my career, I actually said to myself, you know, Aric, when the timing is right, I want to start a business in Southeast Asia, and I want to bring my entrepreneurial skills over. So not the media background, but really the entrepreneurial and startup skills. And Vietnam just seemed like a great place to do that, just because of a lot of different factors, and I can get into those. But it was just really this buzz and this energy that got me excited and said, okay, I want to start a company in this land of opportunity.
Yeah, it was 2019. And I assume that like not many people in Vietnam know about the self-storage concept. So is that a challenge that you have to face? And how did you tackle that?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So when I got here, you're right, self-storage was unknown. I needed it for myself. So that's how I sort of discovered it, right? I asked the Airbnb hostess, where can I store my stuff when I go to Germany? She looked at me like, I have no clue what you're talking about. So that was the light bulb moment. So I started researching. And I saw that self-storage exists in all the countries around Vietnam. Go to Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Hong Kong, it's there. So to me, that was sort of like, it's inevitable, it'll come here. When the market develops more like those countries, then people will need self-storage. So I said to myself, okay, we might as well be the first ones to do it because it's going to come here eventually.
How did you educate the market and maybe like get the first customers to know about you and use your service?
Yeah, I mean, when we started out in a very small location near here, it was actually an old pharmacy. We had 7 lockers and a small space for our valet service where we pick up and deliver to the customer. We had about 20% Vietnamese and mostly, expats and foreigners. I'm happy to say today we're 60% Vietnamese customers. So we've really grown it. How did we do that? It's not a matter of advertising, but educating in the sense of, hey, look what kind of problems we're solving. A lot of people already were solving the problem, but in a different way. One of my favorite examples is a customer who came here once. He was renovating his home. And he said, oh, I wish I had known about this because last time when I renovated my home, I rented a hotel room. So the need is here. The demand will follow when we start educating others. And what's also really exciting is the fact that other self-storage operators have come in and they're actually helping us grow the market. So we're actually welcoming the competition because there's so much upside potential. So people are seeing this. We're also very, very focused on making people feel comfortable. So when you come to our facility, everything is very clean. We look at more 5-star hotels as our comparable, right? That experience when you come here and you say, wow, I feel very comfortable leaving my stuff at this facility because everything is clean and organized and so on. So conveying that feeling, showing the solution, working with business partners, real estate agents, apartment complexes, co-working spaces, they spread our message as well. So there are a lot of different ways to get the word out, and slowly but surely, like I said, 60% Vietnamese now. Ultimately, we want 95% Vietnamese.
I want to get to the technology side of your business, since you describe yourself as a tech-enabled self-storage company.
Yeah.
So what kind of technologies that you guys are using to like make sure that your users get the efficiency and so the convenience that they can have? And also I'm curious about how do these technologies help you guys to set yourself apart from other competitors in the market?
Sort of fun to think about is the fact that in this world of AI, right, everyone's talking about AI. I had a conversation with my management team probably about a year ago now, and we said, it's a good feeling to know that our core product, storing physical products, is safe from AI, at least for now, right? So that's a good thing. But everything around our core product, we focus on technology and being very tech forward and making it an amazing experience for the customer. I'll give you a few examples. One of the most difficult things to help a customer understand is how much space do they need. In other words, if you contact us and I say to you, how many cubic meters of storage do you need? You will have no clue, or most people don't have any clue, right? So we created an AI size estimator. You can upload your photos, and then it will calculate how many cubic meters of storage you need and give you a recommendation.
Okay.
That's version 1. Version 2, we're actually going to make it so that you can walk around your apartment with your camera, point at the various items, and say, I want to store the table and the TV, and it'll calculate automatically. So that's just one example, right? Other examples, very soon we're going to be launching a virtual storage locker. So you have thumbnails when you log in of all the items in storage. You can just click on, let's say, your bicycle, say, please deliver my bicycle Friday between 4 to 6 and pick it up Sunday between 6 to 8 p.m. So it's really simple things, or things that sound simple, that make the storage experience much easier, much nicer. We're, for example, the only ones in Vietnam where you can book online. You can go online, you can do the whole booking process until the end. We like to, there's an expression I heard once, it's making the ordinary extraordinary. And that's what we try to do. Self-storage is actually a very traditional, non-tech type of industry back in the West. So when you take something like that and bring it to Vietnam or a new market, it's actually an opportunity to really leapfrog and jump ahead and do some really creative and cool stuff. So that's what we're really focused on.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay. Besides like efficiency and convenience, your business model also carry a very strong sustainability message. How do the definition of storage like help your customers to get away from the idea of throwing things away and maybe now start storing the things now?
Yeah. I mean, we simply allow people to keep things that they would normally throw away because there's no space at home. It's, very simple from that perspective. You have one child, you have a bunch of baby furniture and things like that. You want to have another child in 2 or 3 years. What do you do with that furniture? You can put it away and then bring it back. Or things that you rarely use, like seasonal items or winter things or sports equipment. People don't know what to do with that. Now they have a place for it, so they can keep these items in use for a lot longer. So that's what's really exciting. And what's interesting about our industry also is there's an expression called the 4 Ds.
4 Ds?
The 4 Ds are the events in life that are unexpected. And that's where we're really even more impactful. The 4 Ds are death, dislocation, divorce, downsizing. So if a relative passes away and they have a bunch of furniture and things like that, they used to get thrown out. Now you can put it away and figure out what you're going to do with it. If people get divorced, right? What do they do with those things? They can put them somewhere. Maybe they go to the children. If you're downsizing your home or if you have to move. And one of the biggest areas where we can help is when businesses have to close, right? You have to close. You have expensive furniture, massage chairs, whatever. a business wants to keep it. They don't want to throw it away.
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways where we can extend the life cycle of products. They're not getting thrown away or wasted or things like that. So we're there in those times.
I want to get back to where we are sitting right now.
Sure.
So this is a very beautiful storage space. And we learned that a 300 meters square of MyStorage site can serve like more than 300 households. That equals an entire apartment block.
Yeah, yeah.
And how did you do that? How does that design approach like help your customers to tackle the problem of the density in the city life?
Sure. I mean, what we do is we allow people to live more efficiently. So if you take a container, one container can fit 3 households, and then 10 containers can fit 30. And then you can take all these containers and stack them together very efficiently and use a very compact space. And then you stack them up, and then all of a sudden you've got 300 households in a very compact space that would otherwise sort of be spread in different offices and different apartments in a building. And the other thing is the fact that we are using space that's right in the middle of the urban centers, right? That's really expensive space. It's inefficient for an office to use their conference room to store documents. It's inefficient for a family to use the extra bedroom to store their toys and their suitcases and things like that. So we really maximize that efficiency by taking things away from places that aren't meant for storage, right? And putting it into a place that's meant for storage and putting it into much more efficient spaces like here in the lockers. And then the other facility we have, it's where we have our valet services. So we go to the customer, we pick things up, we put them in that facility. It's further outside of town. And then we have racks that are like 4 meters high, and we put things on pallets and put everything together very efficiently. So the use of space is much, much better than random different rooms all over the city.
We just did a small tour together previously, and we learned that this beautiful site is made from the repurposed shipping container that is no longer used.
Yes.
So I think it's brilliant. And so like you guys also use the recycled materials in your operation.
Yep.
Why was that important from the start?
I mean, from the very beginning, we wanted to be green forward. That's just something that that I brought with me personally from Europe. You can see it and feel it in the vibe of the country. More people are talking about it. It's just becoming more and more important. And so it's really a nice feeling to know that we were sort of leading the pack in that regard. We were already doing a lot of these things in terms of we have a clothing recycling box. We separate our trash. We do all these things. But then when we thought about how do we actually build a building, we said, we can have the most impact there. When you look at construction of a container, we did an analysis, or using containers, I should say, building a 300 square meter building versus a same size building using containers. The construction waste is about 100 tons using the building.
Yeah.
Using containers, it's 2 tons of the waste and trash and all of that. So huge amount of savings. And then when it's the end of the life, when you demolish a building, it's even worse, right? When you demolish a container, you don't really demolish them. You just pick them up and take them away. So the waste is really negligible. So using containers as construction material is extremely efficient. It just makes us feel good. And not only that, they're really, really fun to work with. They're modular. You can move them around. You can stack them any way you want. What we were able to do here is we were able to expand as the demand or as our growth happened, right? So we built a small facility in 21, and we expanded again in 22, and expanded again in 23. Very easy and efficient to do that. With a normal building, you build a huge facility, and then it's almost empty for a long time. We could just grow as our market grew. Green and flexible. It has a lot of benefits. To be honest with you, I don't know why more people don't use containers.
Okay, very interesting. I want to focus on your customer. We learned that they are families and also small businesses here in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And I wonder, after using your service and through the way of using your service, how did it change their mindset toward reuse and sustainability way of living?
Yeah. So I don't think anyone will say, okay, I'm going to use self-storage or I'm going to use MyStorage because it's green. People are still focused on the convenience and all that. But what it has become, it's more of a package.
Yeah.
Right? Saying, okay, this is a part of that decision-making process. It's part of that buying process. And I feel much better knowing that MyStorage is not only clean and not only energy efficient, but they really think about sustainability and all those types of things. I'll give you one example where a lot of customers are like, wow, this is really nice to know, is we are the only self-storage facility, as far as I know, the only storage facility where we actually also use dehumidifiers in our buildings, right? The dehumidifiers are actually more important than the temperature control. And that allows us to use air conditioning less. It maintains that humidity that's very important. And we point that out to the customers and they're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. It's nice to know that you're maximizing your energy efficiency. You're also keeping my things in a better condition and so on. So it's really that entire package of people feeling good about using companies that focus on that, right? It's not the decision, but it's part of their overall mindset when they look for services. And
You are here and building MyStorage like more than 7 years already.
that's right.
And what is the biggest and the most important lesson that you take away from that journey?
When I came over here, there were lots of, you hear, okay, you have to act completely differently. You have to manage things differently. You have to do things differently. My biggest takeaway actually is no. That there are, of course, cultural differences, absolutely. But if you take the way you run things in terms of really hiring the right people, treating them well, empowering them, doing things properly, and treating your vendors with respect, and all of these sort of fundamental basic things, then you're 80% there, right? Now, of course, I didn't speak the language when I came over here. It's still very difficult. I'm still struggling with the language. So, of course, extremely important to surround myself with people I trust who are locals, who know their way around. So that's sort of the 20%, things like that. Being patient, trying to understand how people think differently and so on. But in the end, if you really apply some solid entrepreneurial principles and then adjust to the local environment and so on, I think you'll be okay. Patience is really key, right? Just take your time. Don't overrush it or rush too quickly. There's a saying that I like a lot. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success, right? And that's the way we look at it, right? We're not gonna, build this and then get out in 2 years. We're here for the long run. We want to build self-storage in Vietnam. We want to make everyone aware of it and slowly let people discover the benefits it has for them, for society, and for everything.
Recently, MyStorage has secured a multi-million investments from EMIA, so which is a fund backed by the IFC in terms of ESG. So is there any terms of ESG that you guys have to follow in order to secure that investment? And also, does it influence the way that you govern your company right now and maybe future plans?
So of course we're super excited for EMIA. So it's going to change a lot for us and allow us to expand very quickly. As you probably know, when a company wants to invest, they do the due diligence, and usually it's a financial and legal due diligence. EMIA has a ESG team they sent here. Visited our vendors, one of our biggest partners, Tantan, who helped us build these amazing facilities. We went to their site. So you could see immediately that they're very focused on that. The good feeling is that we knew that we're already down that path. So we were welcoming them, right? So for example, we're already 44% female staff members. Well, one of our co-founder is female. We already had the clothing recycling box and so on. So we were actually welcoming them, saying, okay, we would like you to help us get even better, right? So helping us set up environmental social management systems, helping us set up procedures and policies and putting things into place, putting it in writing, things we didn't always have documented. So it was actually exciting to be working with a company that really focuses on the things that we do too. And with their expertise, EMIA isn't just the money, it's actually that ESG expertise that they bring along, right? Because as you point out, their backers are the European development funds, so money from the governments in Europe. We all know how focused they are on green. So that just trickles through to us, and that's allowing us to take that to the next level. So it's super exciting for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Now I want to talk about the future. Since Vietnam is like, I assume it is the very start of MyStorage, and also you guys now also focusing on operating here in Ho Chi Minh City. But is there any plan for the next 5 years? Is there any business expansion already in the pipeline? Yeah, what can we expect from MyStorage in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff happening, of course, now with the investment. So the initial focus is going to be on local Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah.
And then what we're calling our hyper-local expansion, right? So basically taking our storage and putting it into different apartment buildings and working with partners like that. If you walk around Ho Chi Minh City, or if you live in an apartment building, you see lots of wasted or unused space, right? So what we want to do is we want to work with these different buildings and put our lockers in there. So we're bringing storage to people, right? So instead of getting on your motorcycle and going to the storage facility, you can just walk down. So it's expanding the hyperlocal and spreading out across Ho Chi Minh City, and at the same time looking at other cities in Vietnam, Hanoi, Da Nang, probably the first ones on the list, and then also actually looking at some of the places that are still a little bit behind Vietnam in terms of development. So that could be Cambodia, Laos, and things like that.
Yeah.
For the short term, the next few years, I'd say really focusing on Ho Chi Minh City, and also getting all of our ESG and all of those things really lined up, documented, scalable, so that we can really roll it out very quickly.
And that's all the questions that we have for you today. Thank you, Aric, for joining us. And we wish you and so like MyStorage continued success in shaping a more sustainable and a more efficient way for the people here in Vietnam and maybe in the region soon. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you,
Great
Aric.
being here.
Thank you.
This has been Bloomberg Businessweek Vietnam, exploring how one stop is giving urban Vietnam more room to breathe. Thanks for watching.